Welcome to yet another episode of Third and Short. I got my guy, DJ Plum, in the building. Yo, Plum, what's happening?
You know what it is, man. I'm back like I left my keys, and I'm happy to be here. We got a whole lot of stuff to talk about, especially with everything going on in these NBA playoffs and the Final Four seedings, as we'll talk about a little bit more. Talk to him, Knicks.
You already know. You want me to talk to him?
Talk to him.
We about to blow the competition out the water. I know we knew. You know what I'm saying? I know Third and Short is new, but we about to blow them out the water like OKC did the Nuggets. But before we get into that, I got to remind the people, don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, and all that good stuff. And of course, we got the merch, y'all. Definitely
Always
check out the
merch.
BLC Network at the BLCstore.com. We got the merch. But like we said, man, let's talk about it, okay? Let's talk about blowouts. Plum, did we see this coming now? I ain't going to say about how I was right because I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. But what are your thoughts about this Game 7? You know what I'm saying? Fresh off the hardwood, OKC blew them boys out of the water at home. What do you think about OKC Game 7 against the Nuggets?
I think they showed me this is the heart, if you will, of a wannabe champion. I can't say heart of a champion because they haven't won a championship yet. But this is a team that is very, very for real. I mean, the 60 plus wins they had in the season was legit. And everybody obviously giving your boy Shea his props for being the presumptive MVP. I believe he showed in this game, along with his team, who the MVP for this year really was. In that, I am super proud of them. Now, did I see a blowout like this? Hell to the no. You gotta be like, now that part I don't understand. They went on a 27-5 run between the second and third quarter. That was just ridiculous, and it just opened the game up in a way that was different. So shout out to Jalen Williams for the way he balled out. So I didn't see that coming, but I did say OKC would win this series. So for me, it was validation in everything that I believed in OKC, and it's showing me a lot considering they took a former champion 7 games and came out on top.
Yeah, I mean, I hear you. You know what I'm saying? Because I felt like I said, for Denver to really win this, they would have needed to do it in 6. You know what I mean? To me, that pivotal Game 5 was important. It was telling because once it became a Game 7, I said, hey, you never know what can happen. You know what I mean? So to me, it was completely plausible that I could see this blowout. In fact, they were kind of telegraphing it a little bit because they were saying like Aaron Gordon maybe wasn't going to play, or he was dealing with some different injuries and stuff like that. So he was certainly hobbled and injured, and they weren't quite the same team, I think, without him being super effective, especially being out there on the road. So I felt like they kind of telegraphed it a little bit. It's funny because I think in game
40 points?
Huh?
40 points?
Who, Aaron Gordon?
No, I'm saying the blowout, 40 points.
Right. I mean, but listen, they came out up 11 initially, right? You're at home, right? I mean, honestly, when you really think about it, yes, Denver, I think being like the champs, one season removed, they were legit, right? But a lot of the people didn't think they were going to get here, right? Because they fired their coach a couple of games into it. They won their first round, right? And so you're kind of thinking, okay, cool. But then around the second round, you start hearing, oh, he's tired and how much he has to carry. And you start, Jamal Murray was sick for a little bit of ailments. And so after a while, it was like, okay, can they continue to persevere? Maybe not. Maybe this was the year that Shea needed to do his thing, and they did. So once they got into a Game 7, it was like, okay. So did I see a blowout of 40 points? No. Did I see it was possible they could have got blown off the court? Yeah, absolutely. Because again, I just think they kind of ran out of gas. The same thing that you were saying about Jokic in terms of that game. I think this collectively as a team, it was like, yo, you're at it's an uphill climb from this point on, right? For Game 7, and it just got did. So I mean, I'm not totally surprised by that. But I mean, kudos to OKC for pulling it out. It's quite interesting how these playoffs are shaping off. So what are your thoughts in regards to, I guess, on the other side and the matchup in regards to the Timberwolves?
Now we getting into some meat and potatoes, because now we getting ready to find out on one half of this bracket who the true new king of the West is. Is it the presumptive SGA, or are we talking more Anthony Edwards? Who has the better team? Who has the better coaching? All those different questions. But ultimately for me, I think this is going to come down to the non-hims, as you like to talk about. I think at some point we'll probably get into who the hims are in this series, and if they will be that, that'll be a great one to talk about a little bit later. But I think for me, those second tier guys, and I think that's going to be a running theme in this Final Four for me, who are those second tier guys that's going to be able to step up? The not newly traded for, but obviously Julius Randle. What is he going to continue to bring if he's going to be that same player? On the same side, from Shea, are we going to get a good Chet Holmgren? Are we going to get a good Jalen Williams? Where are we going to go with that? Which is something for me that's a bit questionative. And even after the great series that we just saw from OKC, I got a little bit more questions on that side than I do with Minnesota, only for the fact that they've actually been here before and have done it before. And they got a little bit more wherewithal having done that.
Having done what? Been to the Western Conference
Finals before, and having also faced multiple teams that have pretty good talent superstars. I don't think they necessarily have faced a team like OKC this year in the playoffs thus far. So that'll be that challenge.
Oh, man, this preview is quite interesting. I think I'm already biased, right, to a certain extent, because I get to the heart. Like, I guess for the casual fan, what's at the heart of this story? Like, listen, Shea is doing his stuff. Thizzle, OKC, well-deserved. You know what I mean? Doing 68 games, MVP. Who can knock that? But let's stop that, okay? Like ain't nobody here to see you, Otis. Ain't nobody here to see you, Otis. The O in OKC low-key stands for Otis. Ain't nobody here to see you, Otis. I mean, listen, I'm sure they're a great team. You know what I'm saying? They're fantastic. You know, he's going to be the MVP. But come on, man. It's Ant time. Okay? It's that's what time it is. Okay? We're here to see him hopefully do away with the OKC on his way to maybe being crowned the new face of the league, right? What's happening, especially on the West, is a transition. I mean, we're not seeing Steph and them. He got hurt, right? We're not seeing Kawhi and them. We're not seeing LeBron and them. So the only thing left are these young guns. So this is their opportunity, going back to your point about it being about him. I think it's all about the hims. Yeah, it's great to have the supporting cast, absolutely. But to me, the rest of the playoffs, it's about the emergence, not of secondary guys, but of the new crop of primary guys, right? Because if OKC or the Timberwolves win, one of those guys become a champion. They become expected to hopefully continue to carry that mantle and so on and so forth. So to me, it's about them because they're the ones who sell the tickets. They're the ones we come here to see. And I think this is a great opportunity for Shea to gain some fans and all that good stuff. But guess what? You can do that in a losing effort. You know what I'm saying? Please step aside, sir. We're not here to see you, Otis. And by Otis, I mean Otis.
I'm not gonna let you disrespect Shea the way you probably would do Haliburton and those other guys, because he ain't the one like that. He has also got the commercials. He's got the flair. The only problem, he couldn't be the face of the league of the NBA, and I would have a problem with it, is because he's not American. That's my only issue. But as a baller and a player, I would love. Oh yeah, I can tell you for a fact, he couldn't be the face of the league. Luka couldn't be the face of the league. Couldn't see Giannis as the face of the league. They're not American players. Could you admit? But that's a whole other story.
Okay. I was about to say, go ahead.
But I will agree that I think Ant is the bigger dog in this, and I am also leaning towards that way with Minnesota. I just wonder, again, you say it's the not hims, and I appreciate the hims. I really do believe these secondary hims are going to, the Robins, are going to be a very big part of the role that plays in getting Batman to that triumphant end, if you will.
You know, listen, I get it. And I think that's just part of the responsibility of the leader, is to be able to inspire your team even when you're down or whatever. So we'll see both of these young superstars in the making. And I don't know that I agree with you in regards to he has to be American to be the face of the league. I think he has to be able to speak some good English. You know what I'm saying? He got to be able to cosplay a little bit. You know what I'm saying? If Shea sound like a brother from Baltimore, I think he could be the face of the league. But to me, again, it goes back to the market that he's playing in. Unfortunately, like, we got to be honest about some of these things. I mean, there's a reason why, like the New York. So my point is that yes, he's a fine player. He's a great player. It's a great team. It's going to be great to see these young crop of players. But I feel like there's a prototype that we love, that we are familiar with, and you can't tell me another prototype like Shea in terms of the person who's able to really carry the league for that period of time. And I just see that happening for the guy on the other side, particularly as they were talking about how he's a Kingslayer, and so he was able to beat all these different teams. They're already trying to build the narrative, bro. They need that because the NBA, the old guys are damn near out the door.
Oh, I don't disagree.
So they
need the new, they need that new young king, and he has fully shown that he is able to be everything we asked for it. The question is now he has a complete opportunity in front of us to show us if it's something that he truly wants.
Okay, well, listen. So let's call it then. You know what I mean? We got other things to talk about. So how you feeling? What you feeling? Who you got? You know what I'm saying? What you got? Let's redeem yourself, Plum.
I ain't gonna lie. I've rolled with OKC all year long. And after what I saw them do to Denver, it was, I was on the drive home thinking about getting to this. And I said to myself, your heart says go with OKC. Your head says go with Minnesota. I'm going with my head. I got Minnesota in 7.
Not Plum jumping off the OKC train. Now, listen, for this to be fun, you know what I'm saying, we have to be, I guess, on opposing sides maybe in terms of our picks. But just because you went first doesn't mean I'm going to all of a sudden just pick OKC. Not when my whole thing has been that I think it's just all about like the star power. It's all about selling tickets at the end of the day for me. And I think also for the NBA. So with that being said, I think I'll just differ with you slightly. I think it's going to be in 6 for Minnesota. I'm going to go with the Minnesota in 6. Yeah. Because I really do feel like there may be, because with the playoffs, there's always that one game where things kind of turn a little bit. Like, it's a game that could have went either way. And I don't know. This will tell me a lot.
You got Minnesota still in one in OKC. Okay. Game 1?
Yeah, I don't know which game, but I do have them still in one. Because again, when you're telling that narrative and that story, we need iconic moments. And I think this series,
then I think a game 1 steal would probably set that on fire. And it's also probable considering they've been rested and OKC just came off a 7-game series with a long series with Denver. So I can totally see that.
There you have it. And speaking of a series that wasn't as long as I think you predicted for the game 7 of it all, right? But the Knicks ended up. Oh, wait. That's game 7. 2 games. Damn. So like you, Brian Windhurst. Now listen, we all get it. Jason Tatum went down. And so there's always that kind of lingering. But the Celtics did, in fact, lose to the Knicks in 6 games, right, at the Garden. The first time in, 25 years we heard ad nauseum in regards to how long it's been. But what are your thoughts about, I guess, the Knicks, the series overall? Jason, being hurt going down. I guess apparently Jaden was hurt as well. Like, what was your thoughts about this series? Is it well-deserved by the Knicks? Because y'all was hating on the Knicks coming into this series.
I was fully hating on the Knicks. And for the most part, I'll probably still continue to hate on the Knicks. That can be a consistent thing. But that being said, that doesn't mean that I can't have perspective and be honest about the situation. And that is, I saw a great, gritty, grimy New York team play exactly to their full identity and their potential. And I can't knock that. Yes, Boston was hurt. Yes, Jason Tatum went out. Yes, Jaylen Brown had a meniscus tear in his knee, I believe. Yes, Kristaps Porzingis couldn't breathe. All of that don't matter. It's playoffs. Everybody hurt. Ain't no excuses. I heard Udonis Haslem talk about that recently. Like, don't nobody care. Because at the end of the day, who on the court is who's on the court. You got there, you got to play. That's what professionals do. That's when, like you say, the hymns and the ballers show up. So it was a beautiful rally effort on Boston's part to rally on behind their teammate. But I honestly got this one completely wrong. Screw that. I'll give you your props, New York. Well done on that series.
Yes. As the person who said that New York had a puncher's chance, right, to win this series, not like this. Like, I don't like being right like this. You know what I'm saying? The only thing that, gives me some feeling of warmth is that even prior to Jason Tatum's injury, New York was up like 9, maybe to 11 points. You know what I'm saying? Because I would hate, it'd be one thing if they were blowing him out and then it happened. But they were still credible, I think like less than 3 minutes left. So, at that point in the series, I think New York had gained confidence, you know what I mean? And it was quite possible that even with Tatum still in the series or in the game, that New York could have went up 3-1. So I hate that. I hate that happened. Also, obviously, for Jason Tatum, but also for the competitive fervor of this series, because I always believed that the Knicks was a gritty enough team. I didn't believe in the whole, regular season and all that. So for me, them being healthy and having the Brunsons, I told you I thought he was him. It was a comparison to some of the other guys, like the guy he's going to face across the other way. But these guys have shown themselves to be very dynamic in the playoffs, especially him, especially what he did last year. So I wasn't surprised, especially once they went up 2, right? It was like, oh shit, y'all want 2. They came back. So I always thought that the Celtics could be had just because of their mental makeup. I was aware that they were not, the greatest health-wise, more that they were letting on. So for me, I wasn't really surprised. I just hate that it went down the way that it did. It would have been great for it to be everybody on deck. But the irony is New York dealt with that last year. And so this year they get to be healthy, and now other teams in the playoffs, unfortunately, kind of go through it too a little bit. But now it sets up, I think, a great rematch though, right? Because last year you had the health concerns or what happened as far as the playoffs. And so, of course, the Pacers were able to keep it moving. But now it's like, hey, man, we back. You know what I'm saying? We got some backup. We got some extra bodies. We healthy now. We done been through the champs. You know what I mean? We here now. So what are your thoughts about Jalen Brunson and, you know what I mean, the Tyrese Haliburton on the other side, like the coach and the matchup? This feels like old school a little bit, little Reggie and Patrick a little bit. No?
Look, this takes us back to when we were kids and teenagers and watching basketball at its finest in a certain way, that 90s era playoff gritty basketball. And I think this is going to be a very gritty, tough, physical series. Now, from what we've seen thus far, the way they've been allowing them to play in the playoffs, I'm going to love this because I expect a lot of technical fouls. I expect a lot of pushing. I expect elbows. I expect blood. I expect Band-Aid. I expect full court action. The only thing I don't expect is them getting obviously to some Ron Artest, Rick Mahorn type things. We don't need the Malice in the Palace type things going on, although that would be highly entertaining for TV purposes. I think we do get a tough matchup where we see coaching, I think, will matter in this series. Because I think you got equal talent as far as players on both sides. You got people on both sides who have been experienced and been through a lot. But truthfully, I think either the mistakes or the adjustments made between either Rick Carlisle and Tom Thibodeau are going to be the ultimate factor that I think takes this series where it's supposed to go.
Gotcha. I mean, well, speaking of where it's supposed to go, because for me, I'm gonna be honest, I'm rooting for New York here.
Surprise.
You know what I'm saying? And it's not even because, I was born in Brooklyn or have any allegiance to New York. I'm not like a lifelong Knicks fan or nothing like that. The Pacers are a cute team. You know what I'm saying? Kudos to Tyrese Haliburton. But much like Shea, who's done a lot, right, and who's about to become the MVP, I think the MVP does make you him. Like, it's a certain level of hims who are MVPs, and Shea's going to be that. Donovan Mitchell, not so much, right? Same thing for Tyrese Haliburton, right? And, I mean, same thing
later.
For
Snipers.
I'm just saying, like, if you talk about all-star hymns, hey, you know what I mean? NBA. Hey. There's levels. So what I'm saying is that this is a great, because listen, man, you got to pay your dues, bro. Like, you got to go through it to go through it. You dig what I'm saying? So I get it. And that's on the court. But I mean, also as the viewing audience, like, these are young bucks. Kudos and congratulations to them. But honestly, once Boston kind of got bounced out of there, like the last vestige of, hey, these are our vanguard, our premier teams, let's put them out there because we know people are going to either watch and tune in to root for them or against them, right? So now the only thing we're really left is either star power. And the thing about New York is the Garden, New York in and of itself as a subplot is a star unto itself. And then you have a star like Brunson who's living up to that big stage and big moment. So yes, I get it. The Pacers are a great team, just like the Pacers from yesteryear. Those were great Pacers team, but people ain't here to see you, Otis, is what I'm saying. Like,
I mean, I don't know. I think personally, the last I remember Reggie Miller going and doing the choke sign at Spike Lee at the Garden.
Correct.
I think that made for great TV. So if I can get some Tyrese Haliburton doing that, sign me up.
But it's about doing it at the Garden. Nobody's going to give a fuck if it's happening at the Fieldhouse for the most part the same way. I mean,
you
gotta give a fuck.
We already know it's got to be done in the Garden, but you're going to be there. So there's no excuse.
What I'm saying is that for me, right, my leaning interest is not only that I think New York has the team to be able to beat the Pacers, right? I'm saying when you add on top of that, the fact that I feel like Brunson on this stage has done a better job of carving out a leading man persona to a certain extent, while Tyrese, I think, has done a great job, but it's just not his time quite yet. Show us what you got, homie. Do your thing. This is your moment to shine, but not your moment to progress. And I'm saying that I think it's very likely that New York, is going to go ahead and take this. And for nothing else, I just think there would be a better storyline than the Pacers. Man, ain't nobody checking for the Pacers for real.
See, this is why I can't stand New York. That's why I fucking can't stand New York, because New York thinks it's a headline because of itself and the city and the history and all of that. And fuck all that. Fuck all that. I'm going to just say that straight up. Fuck all of that. And I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
Because there ain't shit that anybody on that team has done that can tell me is remotely better than the people on the side that they're playing against. Where did who lost in the playoffs last year? Was that Indiana or was that New York?
Both, because neither of them won the championship.
But who got further?
Yeah, Indiana did.
Okay.
New York was decimated. The same thing you were saying about Donovan.
I get all that. And what did we say? What did I say about that? I said the same thing last year for this year. That shit don't matter. Fuck that.
Exactly.
So, both teams here are healthy.
Mm-hmm.
I think both teams got guys. You got one clutch player of the year, not knocking Big Body Brunson. But on this stage is his time to show me just as much as it is Haliburton. And as far as these playoffs are concerned, Haliburton has shown me very much the same clutch genes as I've seen from Brunson. So they both equal there, which brings me back to my second point, the not hims. And again, I'm going to tell you, the not him cat is going to be not him. He ain't going to be the dog I think he needs to be when it comes time. And he's going to be the difference way. Whereas I believe Pascal Siakam may finally show up, where he had a horrible series last game. But I think that championship medal from his past will be able to show up and allow that team to take that next step and actually move into the finals, even though I honestly don't know if they're ready for that stage yet themselves. But I damn sure know New York ain't.
You sound like you picking them, bro. I don't understand. One of them got to go. Like I'm so glad you said that, because before I ask you about your pick, right? That to me, what you just said exemplifies to me kind of like the letdown a little bit, right? To a certain extent, because I think I've been conditioned as an NBA fan to expect some type of passing of the guard in a more real way during the playoffs. Like when Jordan finally beat the Pistons, right? When teams finally progress against their arch nemesis, I don't see a lot of history here between these teams for the most part, to your point, right? And so what we have to now do is project and hope that these people will start to fill those shoes. Because in the past few years, it's been like a little mini carousel, right? You had the Golden State who won, then you had the Denver who won, and you had Boston who won, and now you're going to have a whole new champion. And I get that's great, maybe in a sense of parity, especially if you're talking about highlighting some of these mid-market teams. But the point of the matter is, this is a business, bro. So, like, to me, if all else is equal between both of these teams, I just say from a Madison Square Garden perspective, from Madison Avenue perspective, that you're going to have a little bit more star power, a lot of more star power as it relates to New York. The story about New York finally making it to the finals after all these years, after the last time, the Patrick Ewing, getting a chance to do it again one more time. So this is their best chance, right? To me, I'm just trying to tell you, like, as a person
I'm not disagreeing,
who understands storylines and stuff like that, ain't nobody here to see you, Otis. You know what I'm saying?
Unless you show them that you ain't got no damn choice.
I mean, you're right. So okay, so you picking Indiana or what, Dan? What are we talking about?
You're damn right, I'm not picking New York.
I mean, is that okay? I mean, it's a reason.
I got Indiana. I'm gonna go bold with it. I think Indiana actually wins this in 6.
Indiana in 6. Okay, you know what?
I was gonna go 7, but I think Indiana might win this in 6.
Now, I'm gonna be honest with you, because I did give Tyrese some props before. I think that he did hit some pretty good moments, but something in my core is telling me the reason why he was voted the most overrated is going to come out in this particular series, right? Okay. I think something tells me that in the battle of hymns, and I ain't talking about church songs, that Brunson is going to be out here cooking, right? And I think for whatever reason, Tyrese might just be a year ahead of schedule. So I'm going to go with Knicks in 6. You know what I'm saying? We ain't talking about fat chicks. We ain't talking about black chicks. Knicks in 6. You know what I mean? So we'll see how our predictions go. Well, with that being said, man, listen, a lot of teams are at the crib. You know what I'm saying? One of those teams is the Boston Celtics, right? I know we talked about this before because a lot of people have been mentioning, obviously, that this team is not going to look the same come next year. So with them leaving, unfortunately, so early in the playoffs and having 2 of their stars, actually a whole infirmary of stars, right? We already know about Tatum. It was discovered that Jaylen Brown, I guess hurt, was it his meniscus or like had a torn meniscus or whatever that he was working through. You already mentioned the whole thing with Kristaps Porzingis. I mean, so what are your thoughts about the future outlook of the Boston Celtics and this offseason right in front of them?
Ooh. Some tough decisions got to be made. I think we already mentioned that was going to, be something that they had to do anyway, but those decisions just got a whole lot tougher because you basically lost one $300 million player for the year, almost. I don't see him being back to his normal self at least for another year and a half, so really 2 years. You got Jaylen Brown. I don't know the nature of his injury, and you got a question now, can he stay healthy? That's another $300 million man you got on the payroll. Kristaps Porzingis can't stay healthy. I mean, again, $1 billion payroll, damn near, and can't nobody stay healthy. And you lost the most consistent guy that you had on the team. I'm wondering where you can even go with this because now you don't have assets that are necessarily even possibly really tradable. Like Jason Tatum is going to have to sit. Obviously heal. Jaylen Brown probably gonna garner questions, although he could probably still gain some value if traded. I don't see him having the same value just because of the questions now. And then who knows? I mean, you could fire sale Drew Holiday and the rest of those guys, Horford, Porzingis, and whatnot, but that still leaves you in a bad hole. This actually worked out worse than the situation they were in before, to be quite honest.
Well, it's funny you say that because as you were talking, I thought to myself, I don't know that it didn't work out great for the Boston Celtics. I feel like
the brass, you mean?
I mean, yeah, because that's what we're talking about, right? Trying to figure out what to do with the players before. I feel like had they all been, let's say, healthy and they won the championship, oh my God, difficult choices, right? Because everybody would have the nostalgia of winning the championship, and how can you break up the championship team? Of course, you got to run it back or whatever. But these injuries changed that entirely. Like, number one, remember for me, one of the important questions would have been what you do with those 2 guys at the top of the ticket. And I think legitimately my thought was they would have gotten rid of Brown. But I think with what occurred, it basically made the choice easy for them. Like, number one, you're not going to move Jason, right? He's going to have to deal with that. It is what it is. He's your cornerstone. He'll be back, right? Like great players do. So cool. Number two, now you're not going to get rid of Brown. I don't think his trade value has been diminished. I mean, players get hurt all the time. He has a meniscus, but his value as an MVP, I mean, shit, if fucking Kawhi can get an opportunity to move around the way that he's did with his injury or whatever, I don't think Brown's going to have an injury issue in terms of trade value. I just don't think now you move him. You don't move him, right? Because at this point, you don't have Tatum, so you absolutely have to keep him.
No, he's your franchise right now.
Right, exactly. So even if you thought that, the injury was going to be an issue, let him sit or get better through the year. You see it's not anymore. You allow him to continue to flourish and whatnot and get back his trade value. But then now, because Jason Tatum is down, you don't have the same expectations. So now you can get rid of salaries, right? So guess what? Kristaps Porzingis, adios, right? You'll find some way to get rid of him off of your books. Most likely either Derek White and or what's your boy's name? The other point guard, I'm sorry, his name escapes me.
Pritchard?
No, you keep the young. I'm talking about the old brothers with the big money. Drew Holiday. Oh,
Drew Holiday.
And or Derek is gone. One of those 2 guys are gone, maybe both of them. So it makes it a lot easier for the brass to basically be able to make decisions because guess what? Next year's going to be a down year, right? Maybe there are 500 teams, depending on how you put them together. Now we really get to see what Mazzulla is really about because it's easy when you can stack people who can shoot threes and have a disproportionate height advantage sometimes to do that. But if you got to actually coach and show how these players can navigate, he might get exposed or show the true coach that he is. So yes, if I'm the Boston Celtics ownership, oh wow, this was a lucky break, no pun intended, or maybe it was, right? Because now it makes your choices a lot easier in terms of how you move forward and get these salaries down. And nobody can get mad at you because there's no aspirations once Tatum went down. You know what I'm saying? So, it's
a
funny.
Nice little spin to put on that. I can't lie.
I mean, it makes logical sense when you really think about it. Like, oh my God, like now the pressure is off me as the front office to have to make those tough choices because it just makes itself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Especially when you needed to reduce salary and now you have a reason to say, hey man, we're rebuilding. And in fact, if they're really smart, they'll at least get some draft capital. They've been really good throughout the years going back to Danny Ainge of being able to get capital. So yeah, you take a down year. Okay, we'll take a down year, but guess what? Now you position yourself. Maybe you get lucky on the draft situation, and through your maneuvers, now you restock yourself. Yeah, I'm just trying to tell you, man, I think this was probably something that worked out great for them. Now, you know who else I think is hoping that something works out great for him? Is Giannis, right? Because apparently he's willing to talk to the brass to see what they want to do with his ass. You did what I'm saying? Now, if you're a Giannis, right, bars, you know what I mean? If you're a Giannis, what would you want to do in this situation, right? Obviously, he's where he's at. You got your boy that he didn't really get a chance to build a solid, I think, relationship with in Dame time. So it's not like he can sit there and be waiting for Dame time to come back necessarily, because Dame time is getting older and may not come back. So what are your thoughts in terms of, does he stay or does he really seriously consider leaving? And where would you want to go if you were him?
I think he has no choice but to seriously consider leaving, just in the fact of Dame is out all the next year. So another Tatum situation, if you will. So the guy you brought in to be your Robin, if you will, ain't there. The rest of the team has gotten older, not really stagnant. You've been out the first round the last, 4 or 5 years. I think he's done all he can do for that city. And the truth of the matter is you won a championship there. So you've done what you came to do, if nothing else. Explore your options. And with that being said, stay your ass in the East. Find somewhere in the East that can work, whether it's Miami, and I'm not saying that just because I'm a Miami fan, but we're known to put championship cultures and teams together. I mean, hell, we got Jimmy Butler and went to the finals. Just saying. Or maybe Philadelphia, if you can swing somehow and get, can you imagine an Embiid and a Giannis together? If Embiid could stay healthy, that's something to question, and a Maxey. That's, for me, just smarter to stay in the East. You don't want to go through the gauntlet with the West unless you're going to pair up with Wemby and then be the new Twin Towers. It's the only place in the West I see would make sense. Houston's too young. SGA could be a good, but the pieces they would have to give up would probably be too much. So, yeah, I'm leaning towards stay your ass in the East, but get the hell out of Milwaukee. I mean, again, we talked about marketability. We talked about all of those good things. I in my day job, you already know, I put up posters, and he does a lot of different things for Breitling and all these different things, but brands that you still don't see commercials day to day of him. He's got shoes out, Nikes and all this other stuff. You really don't know. Why? Because of what your point is, Milwaukee. So get out of Milwaukee, head to South Beach, work out a lot better. Major market.
Yes, and I'm glad you said that last word, because I think that helps guide my decisions here, right? Because I agree it's probably time for him to leave the Bucks. It's time to buck the Bucks. You know what I mean? It was cool. It was a good run. You know what I mean? We did our thing. Hey, it's all great. But it kind of reminds me of another great player who maybe left that city and just went somewhere else. Maybe I'm getting my cities off, because for some reason, like leaving that city and going to LA, for example, to me makes a lot of sense. You know what I'm saying? Because when you think about Luka and you think about the type of player they say he should be paired with, right? It's a guy who can get lobbed up, right? It's a guy who can play some defense behind him, right? It's really that, but you're getting more than that when you get a guy like him, right? And then, fuck all that, it's LA. It's la, 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 la. He has a great personality, right? The weather's a little different. He's been in a small market, a little bit more chillier environment. He gets to come out there and get into his Hollywood bag. If you're asking me where I think, if it could be pulled off, where he could go to, I'm like, oh shoot, that would be fire, because I think his personality would definitely fit with LA. I think Luka and him would make a quite interesting pairing in such a way that would make them legit. Of course, you still have LeBron there, and I don't know what you do with some of those other pieces, so I don't know if it's even possible for real. But the second team, if I'm him looking at, right, it goes from one coast to the next coast. And are you ready for this? Are you ready for this?
Let me guess.
Are you ready for this? What'd you say?
Let me guess. New York?
New York! New York! Yes! Because, come on, man. I was thinking about the Pacers at first, because I'm like, oh shit, you do have a nice core group, young, up and coming, they stable, they got good coach and all that. Then I remember what Haliburton's daddy did, so you squandered that opportunity.
Yeah, he shot that shit.
Right? But when I think about the Knicks, though, even with them being premature, Brunson has proven himself. The other guys on that team, they've proven themselves enough to be complimentary if you bring in a Giannis to the Garden. Again, I think he has the proper personality for it. I think he has the presence for it. It's kind of like, ooh, dare I say, like a reinventing of the big man. I mean, New York has always embraced Patrick Ewing. Now you bringing in your boy who can give you a lot more than Patrick did. So I think that would be fire. And I wonder if New York has the capital in terms of the assets to be able to maybe even make it worth their while, because you also got to consider whether or not you have enough to be able to give them without completely gutting your team. Now, though, I will say this, though, damn, now that I think about it, they might regret that Mikal Bridges.
Well, I was going to say, at this point, that would have been
some capital they would have been able to get off,
so that's the reason why I didn't mention them or LA, is because they just honestly don't have the assets or the capital if you're Milwaukee to give back. Like Austin Reeves and LeBron James back, because I guess at this point, if I was LA, I would probably also try to trade LeBron James, but I think he has a no trade clause in his contract, so he is only going to go wherever he wants to go. So you're stuck with him in the contracts and all of that. And in the case of New York, you mentioned it, 5-pick Miles Bridges, first round, boy, you got to show up.
But I think that's the challenge, I think, trying to land him, because it depends on what the market is. Like, what are they going to expect to get Giannis? And what team has enough to give them and still be relatively competitive? I do like the whole San Antonio thing. But again, I'm sorry. Hey, San Antonio, you're great, but you're a small market team. Y'all should be good to compete, not win championships, is what I'm saying. And so, sorry.
Well, again, if you're, to your point, if you're talking about on the court, though, and winning, playing with a healthy Wemby and Fox and Stephen Castle, hell of a way to run to a championship. Still a lot harder in the West, though, going through the Joker. That's why I say finding somewhere in the East. But again, if Philly, me personally, or Miami, Philly, any of those three could work. But again, I think only two of those are realistic possible scenarios currently.
Ain't nobody trying to play with Embiid broke down ass, man. It's a rapid rap. You're not finna stake the next 4 or 5 years of your career to play with a brother who's barely on the court when it matters most, bro. You're not gonna do that. So unless you're trading them for each other, great. Philly will be happy to get rid of the process. Woo! Finally, the process is over.
I mean, that could work and really well. Keep Maxey. You got a couple of assets. Get rid of Paul George. Boom.
And to your point about the whole Miami thing, they ain't gonna work out because if they ain't really fucking with how Pat's running that show down there. You dig what I'm saying? Now, I will say this one last thing. I don't know how Golden State would be able to do it, because if they can somehow make Milwaukee feel like Kuminga, Moody, a couple of assets or whatever, they can somehow dangle something that gives them some hope that they got some stuff that they can get back. Maybe that could be a good little run.
I could see that little run.
Yeah, that could be kind of fire. You know what I'm saying? That'd be fine. But listen, before we get up out of here, we got a couple of quick takes. Obviously, the WNBA season opener, you had your girl Risa Clark going at it. You know what they doing. You know what I'm saying? We want to tune in for that. I heard it got chippy. You know what I'm saying? Because here at the Third and Short, we love seeing women get chippy on the court. So what are your thoughts in regards to the WNBA season opener and the matchup that we all wanted to see?
Hey, I loved it. I enjoyed it. Set a ratings record. I'm here for it. All the WNBA, big supporter of that. So keep going, ladies.
Yeah, I'm trying to decide on how much I want to see them fight. You know what I'm saying? I'm here for a little cat fight, a little hair pulling, no like hard punches, okay? Please, ladies, I need y'all.
No fisticuffs. No, we don't.
Yeah, like I need a hard little check or something like that. I like a little rough.
Oh, that's already a part of it. So.
Yeah, but I'm saying like if they're gonna go a little further with it, I wouldn't mind watching that too on pay-per-view. But with you know what I mean? Come on, man. Come on, think about it. But anyways, the NFL schedule dropped. Plum, I know you was waiting with bated breath in terms of where your teams would be playing. It looks like your team is opening, huh?
Yeah, man, we got some big games. Obviously, you got that Kansas City, Baltimore matchup. That's going to be a big one. But I think this season in general was going to be fun with the schedule drop. Everybody from the Falcons, and shout out to them in their Mario Kart video. That shit was hilarious. But the schedule release and all the just different creative ways the teams drop that. Awesome. I love the flair. I love the fun. we'll see how you get your ass kicked come in the fall.
You know, it's crazy, man, because between now, like with the NBA finals, when that eventually ends, and then like before the NFL season starts, it feels like a big gap of sports entertainment. So I get that we got to find every little thing
Just
to keep us excited. I get that, man. So we'll see. I am excited for the first time in a very long time about the return of the NFL for my own personal reasons. But with that being said, the Preakness Stakes, journalism wins in a thriller, even though journalism doesn't seem to work or win in real life. What are your thoughts about that?
Ironically, it came from behind after not winning for the first time when it should have won the first time to win in this race. I'm not much into horse racing, but I do appreciate all the fashionable hats and accessories that people wear. And shout out to all the black folks that's been owning horses and whatnot and getting into that. You're the real heroes.
Yes, and one time for journalism, even if we're just talking about a horse. And lastly, Scottie Scheffler dominates on Saturday. Is that Saturday or today? The PGA Championship. What are your thoughts about that?
Yo, for all my golf fans, everybody knows I love me some golf. The big thing about Scottie Scheffler is obviously world number one. Came out on fire yesterday, dominated yesterday, came in today, held it together to win the PGA Championship. So now he's got his second major, and as far as of the all four majors under his belt. So now he's got the Masters and he's got the PGA Championship. 2 more legs and he'll have the big horse. Or the big horse.
I was about to say pause, but I mean, I don't know what you say. I was going to leave it alone. But, you know, I feel like there's a theme here. Like, who's the him of the PGA? I mean, kudos to Scheffler, but does he have swag? Like, people checking for him?
I mean,
yes.
No. I mean, he's the one who went to jail and still came out and won the series. Like,
that don't mean he got swag, bro. That don't mean he got swag.
In golf, it does.
Okay, I mean, I'm not getting he's the new Tiger vibes. Is Scottie Caucasian? Because Scheffler sounds like a Caucasian name.
Of course.
Okay, gotcha. So you think I'm just saying we need a little bit more flavor than Scheffler. No knock. I mean, listen, you're gonna always have the fills and all that, but we need a little bit more sauce in the PGA.
I mean, this is all I got for you.
I promise you, if there was more sauce in the PGA, we would probably have this higher on the rundown. But any last words before we get up out of here? Scheffler, get the fuck out of here. Go ahead, man.
I can't with your ass.
I mean, you know where my mind is at, bro. Like, who's watching this shit for real, for real? You know what I mean?
Okay,
we need guests. We need like hymns to headline this shit, bro. Go ahead, bro.
I mean, he is the him of golf. I'm telling you,
and
but
that's where golf is.
That's just where golf is right now. Sorry.
But any last words, bro, before we get up out of here, man?
Hey, man, you know me. It's all good, all love, and as I tell everybody all the time, be good or be good at it.
Yeah, yes, sir. And also, don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, and all that good stuff. And we got the merch. You already know what it is. On behalf of myself, DJ Plum, you already know. We'll see y'all next time. Be easy. Until then, peace.
Peace.